Back now with top stories newsfeed. Police in New York City are searching for a pair of thieves they say posed as FBI agents. New video shows the thieves walking into a couple's home wearing suits and carrying guns in their waistbands. Police say the suspects tied the couple up and tased them while inside, making off with tens of thousands of dollars in luxury items. And a life-saving rescue in Michigan caught on police body camera footage. Video shows an officer outside of Detroit racing to administer CPR to a 2-year-old boy after the child was found unresponsive at the bottom of the pool. The officer then flips him over and manages to get the child breathing again. That child was taken to the hospital but is expected to be okay. And ocean temperatures around Florida continue to remain scorching hot, and scientists are sounding the alarm. Some parts of the Atlantic Ocean at this hour measuring 97 degrees Fahrenheit. Scientists say extreme ocean temperatures like this are an immense threat to coral reefs because the coral can bleach it, eventually killing it. And President Biden has chosen Admiral Lisa Franchetti to lead the U.S. Navy. If confirmed, Franchetti would also become the first U.S. military service chief. She is currently the vice president of Navy operations. The president's decision goes against the recommendation of his Pentagon chief. Now we head overseas tonight to those massive protests intensifying in Israel at this hour. Thousands of demonstrators outrage over Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's power play against the country's judiciary. Police unleashing water cannons on the crowds, throwing protesters to the ground. That desperate plea tonight for President Biden to help and how the U.S. is going to respond. NBC's Matt Bradley on the ground for us tonight in Tel Aviv.
Tonight, turmoil in Israel. Thousands of protesters taking to the streets, calling it the day of disruption. And they're determined to do just that, blocking roads and highways, the police turning water cannons on the crowds. Demonstrators clashing with authorities. More than 60 arrests reported. In Haifa, this news photographer thrown to the ground by police. And for those arriving at Tel Aviv's airport today, this was the welcome party. An estimated 10,000 people creating a sea of white and blue Israeli flags. The protesters furious over their government's plans to revamp the nation's judiciary that would effectively sideline Israel's judges. That just passed a key test. The nation's parliament, called the Knesset, granting initial approval to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's plan. Opponents of the Prime Minister say this is a fight for the future of Israel, a standoff between democracy and dictatorship.
I'm here today because we need to protect Israeli democracy. At the end of the day, we're standing up for Israeli democracy, which the new government is trying to destroy.
Today's massive demonstration started this morning. But civil unrest has been raging since late last year, when Netanyahu first proposed his judicial reform law, which critics say allow him to run roughshod over checks and balances the judiciary was designed to provide. Netanyahu telling his people court independence and civil rights in Israel will not be harmed in any way. The court will continue to oversee the legality of government action and appointments. But opponents say Netanyahu wants to neuter the courts and keep them from blocking his far-right agenda.
They are eliminating the checks and balances. That's what they're doing.
Netanyahu's move to limit the judiciary comes as he's facing corruption charges. This might seem like an insular Israeli issue, but these protesters are turning to America and Joe Biden for help.
We need help from the investigator, from the government of U.S.
Why are you here in front of the U.S. Embassy, of all places?
For many years, the U.S. protected Israel from the external threats, and this is the moment where the U.S. can play a role in helping Israel from some internal threats.
So far, President Biden has been critical of Netanyahu's bill.
Like many strong supporters of Israel, I'm very concerned. And I'm concerned that they get this straight. They cannot continue down this road.
But tonight, there's a palpable fear here that Israel's very democracy is in real jeopardy and a real desire for America to do more.
Matt Bradley from Tel Aviv tonight. Matt, thank you. Now to top stories Global Watch, and we begin with a tragic accident during a fire drill at a Bangkok high school. One student killed and 5 others injured when a fire extinguisher exploded, sending metal scraps flying. The city's police chief says the canister had been sitting in direct sunlight in the 97-degree heat when it burst. Police say at least 3 people could be charged with negligence. The investigation is ongoing. And major storms in northern Spain leaving parts of the country underwater. New video shows cars being swept away by raging floodwaters. Drivers climbing onto the roof of their cars to try and escape. The flash flooding hitting the town of Zaragoza, around 200 miles west of Barcelona. Luckily, no one was hurt, but police are urging people to stay home with more storms in the forecast. And in Cambodia, a mother narrowly saving her child as their home collapsed. New video shows the mother running from her home as their ceiling began to crumble. When she realizes her baby was left behind in a walker, the mother pulling that child to safety just seconds before the entire ceiling comes crashing down. No one was hurt, and there's no word on what caused that collapse. And Meta announcing it will block content on both Facebook and Instagram in Canada. This comes after the Canadian government passed the Online News Act, which requires digital companies like Meta to pay domestic media organizations for their content. Meta, which has long opposed the bill, opting to remove news entirely rather than pay those fees. A similar law is currently under consideration in California. Still ahead tonight on Top Story, plea deal outrage. 2 rabbis in New York City will not serve jail time after starting a fire with a blowtorch that killed 2 people. The protests from the community and the victim's family. Plus, the new video showing a car crashing into a store, pitting a man inside. The charges the driver is now facing after authorities says the crash was not accidental. And Duke University announcing it will provide free tuition for some students. Who will qualify and when will it start? Top Story. We'll be right back.